All right, another signing day has come and almost gone. No bad surprises today. One good surprise, DJ Law committing to us, and it was between us and SEC school, and we were able to get that commitment. So that was a very positive thing that happened. But otherwise, things went about as expected. As I've been saying all off season, the main thrust of this recruiting class was to improve our team speed, particularly in the secondary. We feel like we've accomplished that. The class was heavy with skill positions, corners, wideouts, safeties, and that was by design. That was our intent, and we think that we fulfilled those needs. We also got some quality players at other positions as well that weren't as high a priority as far as the immediate needs, but overall, feel really good about the class. We were able to make some really good inroads into the South. Florida was actually the most players came out of Florida in this class, 5. We had Louisiana, Texas, so we felt like we really expanded our efforts this year and branched out, and it paid dividends. And so, and then our typical Utah, Utah signees may seem a little thin at first glance with just the 3, but we have 5 that we really can't talk about because they're going to serve church missions and weren't able to sign NLIs as per the new NLI limitation rule that was put in effect last year. So we did very well in state, which is always our first priority, and then of course California. California is always a place that we recruit very heavily. So with that said, answer any questions you may have.
Coach, how much does it mean to get those recruiting inroads in Louisiana and Florida? What's that going to do for the program?
Well, we hope it continues, first of all. We hope this is just the beginning of that. And really our 2 main Florida recruiters, Dennis Erickson and Kalani Sataki, did a great job down there. Brian Johnson in Louisiana, Morgan Scally in Texas. And so we're going to continue to hit those areas hard and continue to make those primary recruiting areas for us. And hopefully that will continue as far as the success we've had.
Questions?
Coach, can you explain everything that went on with DJ Law this morning and kind of the circus with his commitment?
Can't explain everything, no. There was a lot of drama to that, and you guys probably know about 1/20th of the drama that actually goes on in recruiting and behind the scenes, but that's just the nature of the beast. But as far as I'm concerned, our compliance has said we've got the letter, we're good to go, and we're excited about DJ, and I know that our fan base is extremely excited about him, and I can't give you all the details because, first of all, I'm not sure of all the details. I just know that our compliance feels very good about our situation with DJ, and that we're adding him to our class.
2 new coaches on the staff. How did they do in this recruiting class in terms of helping with this class specifically?
Well, they were just that, assisting. They didn't have a primary area coming into the game so late, but Dave Christensen, our new offensive coordinator, certainly had an impact in following up with a lot of the players that were either already committed or on the verge of committing. Jim Harding, it wasn't a big year for offensive linemen. Jackson Barton was already with us at mid-year, and really that's the only offensive lineman we signed in this class so far. We still have 1 scholarship remaining, and we're still, and that's not uncommon at this point in time, and we've used 24. I know on paper it looks like we've used 16 of our initials, but we've used actually 24 if you count the guys we awarded last fall and push forward. We call them push forward guys, and so there's only 1 remaining, and that may go to an O-lineman. We'll find out. But to answer your question, they did a good job assisting us going forward. We'll talk about what areas they will primarily recruit, and that'll start tomorrow. Those discussions as as they've been added to the staff, we'll go ahead and have those discussions about any modifications we'll make to who's recruiting where.
Anyone you signed today that you think can come in right away and get into that 2 deep?
That's another good question. I can tell you that without a doubt, that's happening more and more. I look back 8 or 10 years ago, and the freshmen in the recruiting class, I think there was 1 or 2 that didn't redshirt in those classes, 10 years ago. Last year, it was just about half that didn't redshirt, and so you're seeing more and more of the freshmen having an impact and playing earlier, and I don't think that trend's going to go away. So to answer your question, yes, we think there's going to be multiple guys that help us this fall, but I don't want to single anybody out until we have a chance to see them firsthand on the field.
Kyle, do you think you got impact guys who can play right away at wide receiver?
We know we do in Kalen Clay. He'll be here in a matter of days, maybe a week or two on the outside. He was our JC receiver that we signed. Kendrick Young, extremely fast, talented receiver from Florida. And then Raylan from Texas that we feel really good about, and he's been committed to us for a long time. And so we think that those guys are going to be in the mix. We lost I think it was 3 senior receivers this year. And so there is opportunity for those guys to come in and play right away, certainly, have an impact right away.
You signed 6 players to the secondary. What really stands out about that group from first glance?
Speed, and more speed. And that was the focal point of the entire class. Like I said, I was talking about it all off season. We feel we match up at the line of scrimmage with anybody in the country, certainly anybody in the Pac-12. I think we proved that this year, and actually the last 3 years as far as being able to play run defense, run the football offensively, get sacks with our front four. And so we feel like that's been a matchup that has been in our favor, or at least on equal footing. But we needed to improve the speed and athleticism at the perimeter, or on the perimeter, and that really is something that jumps out at you when you look at this class. There's a bunch of guys that are in the 10.4 to 10.8, 100-meter range in this class, and that's what we need that desperately.
Kyle, can you talk about Donovan Isom, the quarterback you signed, and then maybe the quarterback situation as a whole? Will he be able to jump in and compete for the job this fall?
Well, the quarterback's an interesting situation here right now with Travis's situation, and we don't know anything more now at this point in time than we did the last time we discussed it, which was almost 3 months ago. There's another battery of tests coming up in about 3 weeks. However, that battery won't give us the final verdict. It's another 3 months beyond that before we'll know anything for certain. At least that's as it's been explained so far. And so that leaves Donovan, who won't be here for spring. So that the guys that are here in spring will obviously have the leg up. But Donovan's a big, strong kid that is a tireless worker. He's just a guy that is as competitive in nature as anybody we've ever recruited, and so it wouldn't surprise me if he's right in the mix, but we'll have to see how that shakes out.
Any chance that one remaining scholarship might go to a quarterback at this point?
Well, we're going to get the best player available, and there's oftentimes a lot of guys that, not a lot of guys, but a few guys that fall through the cracks, don't end up anywhere on signing day. And so that's the process now, is starting to do our homework and research and find out who's available. And there's always 4-year transfers that have graduated that decide to leave, and some don't decide to leave till after spring ball. So we may, we're just going to wait and see how things shake out. But we know we do have one available, and we will utilize it somehow, some way.
What challenges did you face in this class that you learned from that you're going to apply going forward?
Oh, challenges. I don't know that we learned anything new. It's, recruiting in the Pac-12 is a very competitive environment, which we've known for 3 years now. And verbal commitments are just that. They don't always hold up. And I think I gave you the stat last year where on signing day, about roughly half of the signees were committed somewhere else at some point in the process. And so the commitment, decommit, recommit, all that is still, it seems to be more prevalent than ever. And I guess if we learned anything, then that is the case. It's something that is happening more and more often.
When a decommit happens, how does the staff handle that, and what's kind of the process going forward?
Well, I think it's a case-by-case basis. Decommits, they happen for different reasons. How many guys you have you are actively recruiting behind that guy that decommits plays into it as far as how big of an impact it'll have on you. And so sometimes you come out ahead in a situation like that. When you have a decommit, you end up with a better player. And so it's just a matter of circumstances on a case-by-case basis how that shakes out. Sometimes it really is painful because you really had not much else in the pipeline at that certain position.
This year's recruiting class compared to the previous 2 years of Pac-12 recruiting classes?
Well, it's certainly the fastest, and that was our objective, is to recruit speed. It was very thin on the line. We only recruited the one offensive lineman, like I mentioned. And by the way, that offensive lineman is doing a fantastic job. Jackson Barton, he's here right now with us. He joined us at mid-year and has just done a great job in all aspects. And so we're related with him. In fact, he was the Freddie told me that he was the highest-rated high school recruit that we've ever signed here, and he's as advertised so far. What was the other part of your question? I don't know if I answered your question. Did I answer it? Okay, thanks.
You recruited 2 seniors this year. That's pretty unusual to bring in guys with just 1 year. What happened in their situations that they only have 1 year, and why were you willing to go with that? Because that's not something you normally want to do.
Yeah, it's not a common thing, not real typical. At receiver, one of them was at receiver, Caden Clay. It gives us immediate help. We have an immediate need at that position. He's a slot receiver, and so we felt that the one-for-one with our small senior class, we only have 16 seniors on this year's roster coming up in 2014. So the initials are not going to be an issue. You know, you're going to be up against the 85 count rather than the 25 count. And so a one-for-one guy doesn't really impact you as far as down the road in that regard. Now, if you had a big senior class and you needed to replace more guys, it would have an impact. But we feel that he will contribute right away. He's an explosive. He's a return guy, explosive receiver, an excellent return guy as well, and he does so many things so well that we figured that the sacrifice of one-for-one was well worth it, and we anticipate him coming in and playing right away. The other, Tevin Carter, we signed him last year, actually in the class, didn't qualify, and we stuck with him, and our need at safety is much like our need at wide receiver, where we figure it's worth the investment.
Recruiting services, and I'm sure a lot of your Ute fans are seeing this, recruiting services have you guys ranked in the bottom quarter of the Pac-12 and 60 to 70th nationally, and some Ute fans might be stressed about that. You would tell them what?
I would tell them not to worry about that. The bigger indicator is, in my opinion, of how well you've recruited as players in the NFL, and we're in the top half of the Pac-12 in that. I think that's a better barometer because recruiting is just speculation. It's what do you have, what do you don't have, you don't know. But the guys in the NFL, you know exactly what you had, and so I think our guys have we have a very good track record over a long period of time of recruiting very good athletes. And if you watch the Super Bowl, there was some interesting studies done on the number of 5-star, 4-star, 3-star players, and the vast majority of those players are 3- and 2-star or not even rated. And so it's really recruiting always will come down to evaluation and projection, how well you can evaluate and project. And there's only a handful of 5-stars in the country. I don't know how many there are a year, 25, 30 in the nation. And those guys are obviously very talented, but it's your evaluation of the 3, the 2-star, those guys that really makes the difference. And I think our coaches have done a great job of evaluating those guys, because if you look at all the guys we have in the NFL, I think they were all 2, 3-star guys. And so that's really a better barometer of how you've recruited than what you see on paper immediately. Does that make sense? You sure? Yeah. Okay. All right.
You guys fought off Oregon, Auburn, Florida, Georgia for Tavares Williams, a kid out of the state
Right.
of Florida. How the heck did you do that?
Dennis Erickson, Kalani Sitake. I mean, just hard work, connections, relationships with coaches, with people down there. And Coach Erickson's reputation is obviously huge in Florida, you know, being 2 national championships down there, and is very well connected. And that's a big get for us.
What does he bring to the table, Williams?
Well, when you watch his highlight tape, he's fast, he's explosive. You know, he's just a tremendous athlete with great speed, and he's got good size as well. And so that's why he was sought after by those SEC schools and others. And it's a big plus for us. Like I said, the talent that we were able to bring in from the South this year, I think is going to prove to be a huge benefit to us.
Coach, you started to hit on Coach Erickson a little bit. Has he expanded your Rolodex down there, especially in the South?
Rolodex, is that thing that you flip and the contacts and that? Yeah, he has definitely done that. And not just in the South. You know, in Arizona and California. I mean, Dennis Erickson's been a lot of good places and done a lot of good things and has contacts far beyond just in Florida. But where we felt it the most in this recruiting class, this particular class, was certainly in Florida, but he also assisted in other areas as well, and will continue to do so.
More questions?
Okay, thanks guys, appreciate it.